Nirvāṇa the first literally means blown out, as in a candle. It is most commonly associated with Buddhism. In Indian religions, the attainment of nirvana is moksha, liberation from the repeating cycle of birth, life and death. In the Buddhist context, nirvana refers to the imperturbable stillness of mind after the fires of desire, aversion, and delusion have been finally extinguished. In Hindu philosophy, it is the union with the divine ground of existence Brahman and the experience of blissful egolessness. Etymology, phonetics, Nirvāṇa the first A is composed of three phones ni and va and na, ni out, away from, without, a term that is used to negate, va, blowing as in blowing of the wind and also as smelling, na, nor, never, do not, did not, should not, vana is forest in of the forest forests. Composed of flowers and other items of the forest, but van has both phones van and va. Van has both an auspicious and ominous aspect, van-like, love, wish, desire, gain, procure, conquer, win, possess, prepare. Van, tree, forest, thicket, cluster, group, quantity, wood, va, blow, emit, be wafted or diffused, va, weave, Abhidharma, the Abhidharma Mahavibhasastra, a Zavastavadim commentary, 3rd century BCE and later, describes the possible etymological interpretations of the word nirvana. Each of the 5 aggregates is called a skandha, which means tree trunk. All 5 skandha serve to inform the study of experience, or else missing their causal relations leads away from the path to nirvana. Skandha also means heap, or pile, or mass, which is the nature of their interdependence, like an endless knot's path, or a forest. Origins, Nirvāṇa the first A is a term used in Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, and Sikhism. It leads to moksha, liberation from samsara, or release from a state of suffering, after an often lengthy period of bhavana or sadhana. The idea of moksha is connected to the Vedic culture, which had notion of amrtam, immortality, and also a notion of a timeless, an unborn, the still point of the turning world of time. It was also its timeless structure, the whole underlying the spokes of the invariable but incessant wheel of time. The hope for life after death started with notions of going to the worlds of the fathers or ancestors and or the world of the gods or heaven. The continuation of life after death came to be seen as dependent on sacrificial action, karma. These ideas further developed into the notion of insight into the real nature of the timeless Brahman and the Paramatman. This basic scheme underlies Hinduism, Jainism and Buddhism, where the ultimate aim is the timeless state of moksha, or, as the Buddhists first seem to have called it, nirvana. Although the term occurs in the literatures of a number of ancient Indian traditions, the concept is most commonly associated with Buddhism. It was later adopted in the Bhagavad Gita of the Mahabharata. Jainism. The terms moksha and nirvana are often used interchangeably in the Jain texts. In Jainism, moksha follows Nirvāṇa the first A. Nirvana means final release from the karmic bondage. An arhat becomes a siddha after Nirvāṇa the first A. When an enlightened human, such as an arahant or a tirthankara, extinguishes his remaining agata karmas and thus ends his worldly existence, it is called Nirvāṇa the first A. Jains celebrate Diwali as the day of Nirvāṇa the first day of Mahavira. Uttaradhyana Sutra provides an account of Gautama explaining the meaning of Nirvāṇa the first to Kesi, a disciple of Parshva. There is a safe place in view of all, but difficult of approach, where there is no old age nor death, no pain nor disease. It is what is called Nirvāṇa the first or freedom from pain, or perfection, which is in view of all. It is the safe, happy, and quiet place which the great sages reach. That is the eternal place, in view of all, but difficult of approach. Those sages who reach it are free from sorrows, they have put an end to the stream of existence. Buddhism. In the Buddhist tradition, nirvana is described as the extinguishing of the fires that cause suffering. These fires are typically identified as the fires of attachment, aversion and ignorance. When the fires are extinguished, suffering comes to an end. The cessation of suffering is described as complete peace. Bhikkhu Bodhi states, the state of perfect peace that comes when craving is eliminated is nibbāna, the unconditioned state experienced while alive with the extinguishing of the flames of greed, aversion, and delusion. Hinduism, according to Zaina and many commentators, nirvana is a Buddhist term rather than a Hindu term. The term nirvana was not used in Hinduism prior to its use in the Bhagavad Gita, though according to Van Buiten the use of the term was not confined to Buddhism at the time the Bhagavad Gita was written. According to Johnson, the use of the term nirvana is borrowed from the Buddhists to link the Buddhist state of liberation with Brahman, the supreme or absolute principle of the Upanishads and the Vedic tradition. Moksha, in Hinduism, moksha is the liberation from the cycle of birth and death and one's worldly conception of self. According to Heinsohn and Kahner, when a person achieves moksha, they have reached nirvana. While according to Flood, the attainment of nirvana is thus moksha. Moksha is derived from the root mu-n-c, which means free, let go, release, liberate. In Vedas and early Upanishads, the word musyate appears, which means to be set free or release, such as of a horse from its harness. According to Aurobindo, the last bondage is the passion for liberation itself, which must be renounced before the soul can be perfectly free, and the last knowledge is the realization that there is none bound, none desirous of freedom, but the soul is forever and perfectly free. That bondage is an illusion and the liberation from bondage is an illusion too. Brahma Nirvana in the Bhagavad Gita. Brahma Nirvana is the state of release or liberation. The union with the divine ground of existence and the experience of blissful egolessness. The term Brahma Nirvana is used 5 times in the Bhagavad Gita. Verse 2.72 Sthitvasayamantaka lepi Brahma Nirvana to the first Arma to the first Chhati. 5.24 Zara Yoga Brahma Nirvana to the first AA to the first Florin Brahmabhachadhagakati. 6.15 Angstrom Ntia to the first Florin Nirvana to the first Aparamawa to the first Florin Matsur to the first Florence the Madhagakati. According to Helena Blavatsky, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that Brahma Nirvana can be attained by one who is capable of cognizing the essence of Brahman. By getting rid of vices, becoming free from duality, free from the worldly attractions and anger, dedicated to spiritual pursuits, having subdued thoughts and cognized Atman, and dedicating oneself to the good of all. According to Mahatma Gandhi, the Hindu and Buddhist understanding of nirvana are different. The nirvana of the Buddhists is shunyata, emptiness, but the nirvana of the Gita means peace, and that is why it is described as Brahma Nirvana, oneness with Brahman. According to Gavin Flood, in the Bhagavad Gita it seems to be contrasted deliberately with the Buddhist understanding, because it is described as the attainment of Brahman, and the yojana is described not as a candle blown out, but as a candle flame away from a draught which does not flicker. The attainment of nirvana is thus moksha to the first pound A. Brahma Kumaris, in Brahma Kumari's philosophy, nirvana is reaching the meter world called Paramdam or Shantidam and is the highest of the 3 worlds. It is the original home of the soul and supreme soul, Shiva. See also Notes. References, published references. Web references. Sources. Further reading, Ajahn Brahm, Mindfulness, Bliss, and Beyond, A Meditator's Handbook Part 2. Katukurund Nanananda, Nibbāna, The Mind Stilled. Kawamura, Bodhisattva Doctrine in Buddhism, Wilfrid Laurier University Press, 1981, pp. 11. Yogi Kanna, Nirvana, Absolute Freedom 198 pages. Stephen Collins. Nirvana, Concept, Imagery, Narrative 204 page. External links, In the Presence of Nibbāna, Developing Faith in the Buddhist Path to Enlightenment, Access to Insight, Readings in Theravada Buddhism, Nibbāna, more excerpts from the Pali Tripitaka defining Nibbāna, Nibbāna the Mind Stilled Vol. Ear Sermons on Nibbāna, English translation of the Mahayana Mahaparinirvana Sutra, Encyclopaedia Britannica, Nirvana, Bhikkhu The Mind Like Fire Unbound, An Image of Nirvana in the Early Buddhist Discourses, Dhamma Talks, Dhamma Talk on Nibbāna by Ajahn Brahm, What is Nirvana?